So this is from Silence Speaks, is today's dairy saying. So these fundamentals have to repeatedly, we have to keep on reading, and you'll keep on getting better insight as you keep studying these things. There are numerous means and practices prescribed for realization, out of which we have to choose that which guarantees speedy success. Now, what that may be, let each person judge for himself. So he is asking us to judge it for ourselves. For a hint, I quote below the judicious opinion of Swami Vivekananda on this point. It is Raja Yoga alone that successfully leads a man up to the highest level of approach, and none but one having the capacity to apply his own internal powers through pranahuti is fit for being a guide or master. I may also assure you that Hatha Yoga has no access beyond Agnya Chakra. Besides, there is another serious defect in it. When we start with the bodily exercises of Hatha Yoga, the consciousness of our physical efforts with the idea of self in the background also remains all through. Thus the ego instead of reducing, goes on increasing thereby. But that is not the case with Raja Yoga, where one proceeds with subtlest means for silencing the ever-active tendencies of the mind. Besides, in practicing this, one is always away from the idea of the body, since he has fixed his attention upon the subtlest. Grihastha is not a bar in gaining the real. I think this is the best ashrama in which higher approach is easily possible. I am a Grihastha and my master was also one. And mind you, in Buddhism and traditional Vedanta, where Shankaracharya had a long debate with Mandana Mishra to prove that in Grihastha life you cannot achieve realization. So he defeats Mandana Mishra and then he renounces life and all that. From that thing, Babaji is very clear. He's clearly saying that Grihastha is the best. So in that way, we should know our clarity about in what way we differ from Buddhism and what way we differ from Vedanta also. So he says Grihastha is not a bar in gaining the real. I think this is the best ashrama in which higher approach is easily possible. I am a Grihastha and my master was also one. I assure you that a perfect saint may be found in this ashrama alone. We perform our duties and remember him as the ultimate reality. Duty is itself worship if the idea that it is the order of God remains in the mind. The method of meditation on the heart is to think of godly light within it. When you begin meditation in this way, please think once only that godly light within is attracting you. Do not mind if extraneous ideas intrude during meditation. Let them come, but you go on with your own work. Sit in an easy posture for 1 hour in the morning in quite a natural way. Actually, in another one of the letters, he says, I have made things easy by giving you this idea that you have to think that divine light within you is attracting you. He says, by that, meditation becomes easy and then you get divine love. In another letter, he says, I have made things easy for you by giving you this advice also. So this is very significant advice. We can all practice actually. Even I practice it regularly. Do not mind if extraneous ideas intrude during meditation. Let them come, but you go on with your own work. Sit in an easy posture for 1 hour in the morning in quite a natural way. If you require the philosophy of this, method, I shall reveal it to you after some time. You should only meditate. You should not struggle with the ideas and thoughts which generally come in during meditation. Concentration is the result of meditation. Those who want concentration for the sake of meditation and force their mind to it generally meet with failure. It must be remembered that while practicing these methods, one should not force his mind too much, but only sit in a normal way. Sit in an easy posture for 1 hour in the morning in quite a natural way. It is better to sit in the gray of the morning for meditation. Or if that is not possible, then at any fixed hour convenient to you, the abhyasi. Do not feel disturbed by the outer things, but remain engaged with your work, thinking that they are in a way helping you to feel the necessity of greater absorption in your practice. Generally, people, complain that there's a lot of noise from outside. He says, do not feel disturbed by outer things, but remain engaged with your work, thinking that they are in a way helping you to feel the necessity of greater absorption in your practice. You should take that obstruction. Suppose, like in Hyderabad, you find a lot of noise early morning, a lot of loudspeakers blaring. Not in Pune and all, but here it can distract you but then if you feel that you should try to get absorbed in the divine light and then focus on that activity, then the distraction will help you to uh, develop finesse in your meditation. So in that way, we can do it. Do not feel disturbed by the outer things, but remain engaged with your work, thinking that they are in a way helping you to feel the necessity of greater absorption in your practice. In the evening, sit again in the same easy posture for half an hour and think that the complexities, the network of your previous thoughts and grossness or solidity in your body are all melting away or evaporating in the form of smoke from your backside. It will help you in purging your mind and make you receptive of the efficacious influence of our great master. As soon as I find that you are free from undesirable matter, I will take appropriate action. We soar high by awakening and cleaning the chakras and the sub-points thereof, taking up Kundalini also in the end, with which the abhyasi has nothing to do by himself. It is exclusively the outlook of the master. To impart spirituality really takes no time for a guide of high caliber like my master. The time is mostly spent in affecting the making of the abhyasi. We should proceed with our abhyas with faith and devotion, and the thing desired will come to us by itself. Again, uh, again, a common fallacy people is once you have oh, had a clear idea about the goal, you don't have to uh, keep on thinking about the goal. You sincerely concentrate on the uh, first step. Now, today we have to meditate. You concentrate on the practice itself, and that itself will show you the next step. That itself will show you the next step till you find yourself reaching the goal. By thinking about this thing, then the sincerity in the present process will be, will get weakened, and then that is not a sincere practice actually. So present, whatever practice you're doing, you have to give full sincerity to that practice. To impart spirituality really takes no time for a guide of high caliber like my master. The time is mostly spent in affecting the making of the abhyasi. We should proceed with our abhyas with faith and devotion, and the thing desired will come to us by itself. The goal you'll find yourself reaching the goal naturally. I often met the heads of various sanstha's, and to my greatest surprise and sorrow, I have found not only transmission sadly missing everywhere, but also that to most of them it is it was quite a stranger. Swami Vivekananda had that capacity, but such personalities are always rare. Personalities like my revered master are not accidentally born. So God himself takes the form of a guru actually to correct the humankind's mistakes actually. So in as per the requirement of nature, Lalaji was born. So that is that idea we should have. Personalities like my revered master are not accidentally born. They come down only when the world waits for them in eager expectation. Such higher personalities or incarnations come down in material form to remodel the ways and methods of upasana in accordance with the need of the time. So was the case with Lord Krishna, who was a great master of his time. My revered master too has modified the system, adjusting it to the needs of the present time. His most wonderful invention in the spiritual field is the one related with the abhyasi's approach to the central region, as stated in the efficacy of Raj Yoga. I am following in the footsteps of my great master. Often people ask me to infuse into them the godly force or energy up to the highest degree, all at once. To be frank, I am always eager to do so. But to my regret, I seldom find the necessary capacity in the abhyasi. The delay caused is only on account of that deficiency. And for that, I cannot be blamed as a miser by any means. All that I possess is for all humanity. I am bound by the sacred pledge given to my master as Guru Dakshina to spread spirituality far and wide without any reserve or distinction. I am doing it now and will go on with it all my life. You must not, however, be disappointed. If you have really entrusted your case to me, I promise my full support for your perfection, provided you too do the needful. As to how the mind should be kept engaged, I may relate to you what I did during my period of abhyas. My master was everything to me as he is today. I meditated upon his form within my heart and outside.
Maratha, come once.
Mute everybody.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. I meditated upon his form within my heart and outside as well. But I do not recommend this to you, for you have not seen him. The benefit I derived from this process is beyond words to describe. Some people may have objection to it, though the 37th Sutra of Patanjali's Yoga Darshana fully supports it. Vitaraga Vishayam Vachittam. Actually, in some places it comes as 1.39. So it's a slight this thing. I am not at all in favor of meditation on the pictures of saints. Constant remembrance of God is, of course, a special feature in spirituality. The same I recommend to you to try, besides your usual practice. The method for cultivating constant remembrance is to think with firm conviction during your leisure hours, in office or at home, in the street or in the market, that God is pervading all over and everywhere, and you're thinking of him. Try to remain in the same thought as long as you can. I am glad that you're eager to reach the stage of Vairagya. You will attain it without doubt, but only when you are sufficiently cleaned, and it depends upon you as well, for which you are advised the evening practice. I feel you are improving spiritually, for which I give you a hint to understand. You must be feeling lightness, though only a little, which is a sign that complexities are melting away gradually and the spiritual force is flowing into you. Try to feel it and inform me accordingly. If you do not get time for meditation during the day, then do it when you go to bed or after midnight, after a short sleep. when everything around is calm and quiet. In that case, proceed first with the cleaning process fixed for the evening. Do it for about 15 minutes, and after it, devote for an hour or so to meditation as directed. So this is, he is not giving you any concessions. He is not, he says, in your context of your duties, or if you have any social engagements and anything, if you have not done your daily meditation, he is not giving you any concessions at all. He says, you can do it in the night. You take 1 hour nap or get up in the midnight and then first do 15 minutes cleaning, then practice 1 hour of meditation. So unless you grasp the seriousness behind the instruction, we tend to take it for granted that today, tomorrow we'll carry on, or let me go on holiday, let me do it after I come back from holiday. Like that, those things will not work. So this should be understood actually. So do it for about 15 minutes, and after it, devote an hour or so to meditation as directed. We should not weaken ourselves by thinking of past karmas. We should always try to attempt the highest in order to make the future bright. It is very difficult to have all favorable circumstances in this worldly life. What we are to do is to adjust ourselves to the condition as best as we can and to utilize them to our greatest advantage. Constant remembrance will greatly help you in such cases also. The domestic problem is acute everywhere, but we have to put up with it somehow. One thing more by way of practice is to offer daily the following brief prayer at bedtime. In the most suppliant mood and with a heart overflowing with love for the divine. O Master, thou art the real goal of human life. We are yet but slaves of wishes putting bar to our advancement. Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. Repeat the above in your mind once or twice and meditate over it for a few minutes. This is important. I mean, the next sentence which is coming. The prayer must be offered in such a way as if some most miserable man is laying down his miseries with a deeply afflicted heart before the Supreme Master, imploring his mercy and grace with tearful eyes. Then alone can he become a deserving aspirant of spirituality. So the whole liberation is possible only when the divine manifests in your heart. And that is actually grace or gift from God. And our duty is to make ourselves deserving by doing meditation, cleaning, and doing constant remembrance. And here is giving you a clear indication that if you want to become a deserving aspirant of spirituality, he said prayer should be offered in such a way. So once we become deserving, only the God's grace will descend upon you. Otherwise, our thought will not be able to attract the grace of God actually. So we have to become deserving, and one of the way to become deserving is to offer prayer as advised by Babuji Maharaj. That's the thing. Whatever comes into action is always in accordance with the will of God, who is the actual doer. The difficulty arises when we link it with our own will or action, thinking it to be the result of our efforts. We rejoice at success and feel aggrieved at failure merely for that reason. This is the only thing which serves to keep us in bondage. The absence of this egoistic feeling means the advent of real potent vigor. How can this be achieved? Only by linking the self with the great power of the divine. Doing so, we go on covering stage after stage, and we get closer and closer to him. It is a pity to find only a few persons trying to link themselves with the Supreme. 1 minute, Dharmesh, you can continue reading. I'll just come.
It is a pity to find only a few persons trying to link themselves with the Supreme. Not to speak of achieving complete negation. For that, the only path is that of surrender. Though it is a pretty hard task, especially for those who are overloaded with their own weight. I think this is a loaded statement. For that, the only path is that of surrender, though it is a pretty hard task, especially for those who are overloaded with their own weight. I think this is something we need to contemplate and see how overloaded we are. Discipline is the elementary step of surrender. If it is not possible to adhere to mental discipline in the beginning, one can take up at least the physical discipline to start with. After that, if the teacher's capability is well established upon the mind and the pupil too is a sincere seeker of reality, mental submission will begin to develop by itself. When he has set his foot on the lowest rung of the ladder, the next one will be in his sight by itself.
Dharmesh, एक minute. This point I want to tell you, once the goal is fixed, whatever process you are doing, that is the only thing visible to us. That is the only thing which is under our vision. Like you have to do meditation for 1 hour or cleaning. That's the only activity. So usko full sincerity se karna. Then as a result of that, the next step will appear on its own. Some knot will open, and then your intuition will develop, and then your perceptions will change, and then your motivation and then your energy to progress on the steep path will automatically develop in you. But if you do not give full sincere attention to the task at hand, the progress will be slowed down considerably. But if you are very sincere in the process, the cleaning process, bedtime prayer, morning prayer, and meditation, then the next step will appear automatically. And then along with that, you'll get the energy and strength to become more purified, and automatically then from there another step comes up like that. So next one will be in sight by itself. When the pursuit is taken up, thus love and devotion will begin to develop automatically, especially when one is convinced of the merits of the teacher. I'm not sure whether all those associated with me have craving for realization or not. If they have, these things must have developed in them automatically. So now you have to put this question to yourself and to ourselves, whether these love and devotion for the teacher or devotion for God has developed in us automatically or not. There must be in their heart an interest for that. And the interest develops only when one feels firmly attached to the goal. Some may, however, sit by me only to have their mind at rest for a while. Even this may be worthwhile to me to some extent, for I may thereby be offering them some comfort for a while at least. But that alone is not enough. There may also be some who like to associate with me on the basis of fellow feeling and friendship, not of course taking into account anything of spirituality. This also may not be too little for me, because I greatly rejoice and feel refreshed when I find anyone bearing in his heart love for me. But why, after all, should anyone bother about it for my sake, when there is a lot for him in the world to love and like? He alone, and who is himself lost, or at least likes to be lost, or is even willing to lose all, may perhaps be inclined towards me. My tendency of mind is somewhat peculiar. Having lost myself in toto, I now like others to trace me out. I believe a wise man will never come up for it. That may be the reason why I fail to excite emotion in the heart of others, because in me, that too is lost like my own being. When that is the case, what else then remains in me for a clue to help them to trace me out? The idea will be more clear if one develops a similar type of divine intoxication. I think we'll stop here.
Any questions?
If you have time, actually, I was reading one letter, this short letter written by Babuji to one abhyasi. I'll read that, which is complementary to that. There are a lot of tips about meditation in that.
Sure.
This actually, this letter I was reading today morning. I thought I should share this. This letter was written on 1st January 1956 to Raghavendra Rao. I'll just read it. My because all Babuji has asked these letters to be read to his friends and all that. He says anybody can share this. Only in some instances where he has commented on some spiritual gurus, he said, don't share that letter because I might have criticized. But general letters, you can show it to everybody because they're all having a lot of spiritual value. So even though it's written to Raghavendra Raoji, he says you can show it to everybody so that everybody can learn. Important points are there. So, my dear Raghavendra Raoji, God give you long life. Received your happy letter of 24th December 1956. I too had sent a postcard which you might have received. I am pleased to read that you have made the improvement of the mission your creed, and you have also gathered some associates. I shall send the copies of the bylaws of the mission as desired by you, along with the application forms for admission. But before filling up the forms, see, there's a hint for us here. But before filling up the forms, see that they have become pretty steady in the practice. He is telling that after they become steady in the practice, then only send the forms to me. He is telling like that. But before filling up the form, see that they have become pretty steady in the practice. I do not know whether Maulvi Ghulam Sarwar Khan has given me room in the cabin of his heart. If so, the question arises whether he has bound me up or kept me free. If he has bound me, I have been chained up. And if he has kept me free, I can certainly be of use to him. The meaning of this is whether he had made me his own by allowing me my right or by depriving me of it. If he has kept up my right, I am certainly of use to him. You have written for your nephew. I am ready and he shall progress by the grace of God. I have also received a letter of Dr. Vardachari and I wish that he should progress. But the fact is that he wants to build the spiritual temple on the sandy foundation of logic and doubts, which is the quintessence of philosophy. My view is that the beginning of the spiritual philosophy must be from wonder, and I agree with this thought of Plato. In our system, samstha, there comes a stage where the state of wonder is created in the abhyasi, and I have remained in that condition for years. And when such a state is created, spirituality takes an entirely new turn. I have forbidden Sri Ganeshan to show my letters to others because while replying to the questions, I have criticized some saints, although I have done so very carefully and diplomatically. There is no restriction for loving people like you to see those letters. Some of the points in those letters can be shown to everybody. And regarding those experiences which Sri Ganeshan had, well, they cannot tally with those of others. You may consider about your experiences also similarly, that they seldom tally with those of others. The traversing of the path is the same for all, and the goal also the same, but the difference certainly comes while reading the condition. Shri Ganeshan has pressed you to translate the Urdu book into English. I shall be very happy if you start to do it, and afterwards I shall correct it. I have yet to ask who has started to translate, but it is no bar. You also may start. Now I come to the reply to your question on the question whether life has got any meaning. Someone has said life is the name of liveliness. Damnation is for those who are dead at heart. Whatever its poetical meaning may be, but my point will be established by the meaning which I give. It is agreed that they call liveliness as life. Now, what is liveliness? To live with heart. Now, which can be that life wherein liveliness may come? Query. This alone is giving an answer. Give away your heart to another one, and only life shall remain. If we ponder over life, we come to the conclusion that life is only that which is connected with living. That means without mind interfering and thinking too much about it. I mean, generally, we overthink, we form concepts. Like a small child is there. If it is hungry, it cries. Some mosquito bites, it itches. It is a sign of life. There's no thinking involved in it. It's just simple living. Animals also simple living only. So saint also, he simply lives because he becomes one with, he achieves harmony with God and nature. So he simply lives, and he loves everybody because the distinction that body is mine and this relative is mine, that all disappears. This alone, give away your heart to another, and only life shall remain. If we ponder over life, we come to the conclusion that life is only that which is connected with living. My statement makes it clear that there is some living with which I have stated life to be connected. And it also is evident that life with which life wants to remain connected is eternal and immortal. That means that life which is mentioning is eternal and immortal life. If we merge our life in that life, then it becomes a real life where there is neither bliss nor pain and neither pleasure nor sorrow. Yes, this alone is the writing of an illiterate. I want to take you all to this only. He wants all of us to reach that state where there is neither bliss nor pain, neither pleasure nor sorrow. I want to take you all to this only, and this alone is the goal of life, which you call life. I have also written, give away your heart to another one. Whatever sense implying love you make of it by reading is correct, but it is certain that reality cannot be revealed through such common words, but it does come into the mental grasp. He says we can grasp the idea which Babuji is trying to say. It does come into mental grasp. The object is that the fact of our nature which is entangled in this world, that is the heart which is inclined towards silly pleasantries, should be entirely turned away. The mind, the sense organs, our mind, our likes and dislikes and interaction with the world, those are all, he's using the word silly pleasantries. Seeing news, I mean, all the virtual media, everything is silly pleasantries. The heart which is inclined towards silly pleasantries should be entirely turned away. You have to do only this in this life. The heart be his and you be yours. Next thing which you asked is, what shall I get by this life? Dear brother, the question of getting comes when there is the motive. And when the heart itself is no longer ours, the motive has already left away. Then what did you get? Only that which was really yours. Yes, you certainly had a life prior to this one, and the fruit of it is that you have come into the present life. Now, whether will there be any life for me after this? He has put a question, whether there will be another future life. If you want to have the past life once again, it is impossible, because such life is not possible for the devotional minds like you. Moreover, the worry regarding your life after this one should be for me, because in one of your letters you have written, I have already surrendered my heart and mind to you. Is your future life is my concern, not your concern at all. You have written, I have already surrendered my heart and mind to you. Diversity is life. Had there been no diversity, none would have got inclined towards eternity. We are thinking of divine light without luminosity because seeing the diversity and the pain and pleasures in this life, which we are got tired and exhausted in our experiences with life. That only has given us the idea to achieve the peace which comes when your mind is is living in the soul consciousness or master's consciousness. If there was no diversity, tell me what other word ought to be for it and what would be its definition. The same, which is God's. Now you may even ask, why did this diversity come? The correct answer is you went on solidifying your thought to such an extent that the real thing on which you had solidified got wheeled inside. You have created the glamour and glitter and fell in love with that only to the extent of getting intoxicated and becoming tipsy like a top. When you become tipsy like a top, you went on dancing. You danced all by yourself and got the onlookers too, and you are pleased. Now please decide for yourself what part you had in the workhouse of nature in its making and information and formation, and what a great responsibility was yours. The answer of these questions which you have asked can be found in example of Jamila in my Urdu book. Please read the same. While writing something you have mentioned in the end, please show me the right way. I am surprised that this sentence which has come out of your pen means that I have not yet shown you the right path. If I consider you to have gone intoxicated, my reply would have been, having arrived at the destination, we are searching for destination. It is good for you to do the puja for half an hour. It will be still better if you start to do puja for 1 hour. Constant remembrance is really such a practice by which alone all stages are crossed over. All states condition gets opened by this alone. All types of superconscious states open up by this only. And this very thing makes you to become one with reality. I am writing to Maulvi Sahib also. Please give it to him after reading. After writing the above, I received your letter 27 December. Do not lose hope by my statement that none could reply to every why till now, nor is there any hope in future. And I have faith in my words that the knowledge of everything can be had by the realization of God. In our earlier letter, he is, said that you cannot get an answer to every why. Now he's reassuring him that don't get depressed because I replied like that. He says, you will get all the answers once you realize God. Do not lose hope by my statement that none could reply to every why till now, nor is there any hope in future. And I have faith in my words that the knowledge of everything can be had by the realization of God. And it is true. The problem, the seed or the tree first, has not yet been solved. But I say that first it was the seed and then came the tree. The seed was the effect of the quakes and shocks of the divine vibrations. But if you question why did God create this world or whence did God come, think by yourself as to what possibly the reply of these can be. I think if God is asked, where did you come from? Even he cannot reply. And if he replies, he is not God, because by the reply, there shall at once comes the limitation and unlimitedness vanishes. Hence, very many things we have to just assume and take for granted. People often query, man has to face many calamities and miseries, the responsibility of which is on God because he has thrown us in these. If he is pleased to see this, our sufferings, and if his heart does not melt with compassion, it is better to remain aloof from such a tyrant. Now, please tell me by what words they can get fully convinced and satisfied. Science and philosophy give the replies, no doubt, but finally they will become silent. We should not unnecessarily worry by thinking on such lines, because these things are opposed to the development of peace. We should have the monomania to somehow find ourselves, and this alone is spirituality. He says you should have a monomania to find our true nature. I mean, we should have monomania to somehow find out ourselves, find out our true identity. And this alone is spirituality. He is giving you a definition of spirituality. If I ask you why you have been named Raghavendra, you would only say my parents liked it. And again, if I ask you why they liked it, you may not be able to reply to every why after giving replies to some extent. When such is the case with ordinary matter like this, what to talk of the big ones? I am pleased to note that you have become a member of Engineering Society. When this is done, God will grant you the other two. When I praise you, it definitely provides you an opportunity to get pleased. And this alone would be my object, that you may receive water for growth. If now you think that you become proud by it, though it is not the case, why don't you think I am praising myself? Very interesting reply. He says, when I praise you, it definitely provides you an opportunity to get pleased. And this alone would be my object, that you may receive water for growth. If now you think that you become proud by it, though it is not the case, why don't you think I am praising myself? You asked whether I should consider the non-fulfillment of my desires to be their punishment. It would be better to consider the very creation of desires as your own punishment. You have mentioned about writing to somebody whatever I had told you about electrons, etc. You might have written accordingly. Have you received its reply? If so, please inform me also. Please consult our Satsangi for the treatment of appendicitis. His address is as follows. Shri S.R. Mukherjee, Railway Quarters, North Eastern Railway, Lakhimpur Keri, UP North India. Your well-wisher, Ramchandra. So I thought just the idea of giving away your heart, and then once you give away your heart, the motive for what will happen to my condition and all that do not exist, because heart itself gives the motivation. When you're given the heart itself to the master, that question should not arise at all. And then he gives the definition of real life. Real life is one when you're given your heart to somebody else, and then whatever is remaining, that is the life which is real and eternal, and where it is beyond pain and pleasure, where it is bliss and beyond peace also. Eternal life. That is what is mentioning it as a real man actually. You can read those things, they're all available in the web. A lot of hints which are not, many points will be there, you can get those points.
So a bit of this letter is also there in the Silence Speaks.
Yes. Many of them, Silence
yeah.
Speaks are letters written to Dr. KCV and Dr. Raghavendra Rao and other Kasturi and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's only half of it. I think the last one, but after this, unlimited would be lost. That is not here.
Like, for example, interesting idea, he was writing to the master, suppose my desires are not fulfilled. If they're not fulfilled, a person, gets frustrated and, anger, as per that, Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsaha, that Krishna talks about it. And then when your desires are thwarted, you become angry. So he is now putting it to Babuji that if unfulfillment of my desires, can I consider it as a punishment? But Babuji, in return, he says, you should treat the very existence of desires itself as punishment, not fulfillment or unfulfillment. I mean, then it gives you a clue about what state of mind we should try. I mean, how mind can be regulated. I mean, harboring any desire whatsoever, I mean, in any field, not just your, generally people have got a very narrow idea about desires, in the sense they think that it should be about money or property and all. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Any change you want in society or in yourself or in the even in a mental state also. Even if you want that a peaceful state should continue, also becomes a desire. And if you feel a restless state is there, you want that restless state to go away, also becomes a desire. So that idea you should catch while reading all these books. Without hard work, you'll not get insight, and you'll not be able to. Spirituality is not It doesn't come on a platter, actually. You have to work hard for it. So you have to think deeply and then contemplate and ponder, and you try to express your understanding. It will be helpful for other people also. No? I mean, Bodhayanti Parasparam is what? I mean, we work together to help each other. So if you think seriously and then share your understanding, we are actually delighting in talking about the master and thinking about him. That is the motto of our ISRC, Bodhayanti Parasparam. We should get rid of our laziness and willing to put in some hard work. Philosophy is hard work. The psychological problems, answer to those problems. You can't always depend on a guru to give you answers ready-made. You have to open the banana, peel the banana, eat. You want everything to be done and then put in your mouth, and you're asking him to, I mean, move your teeth and jaws also. I mean, it's too much. So chabana to padega na, at least that much you have to do.
Sir.
Already Babuji was very miserable because he never got a disciple, just like Vivekananda was a ablest disciple of Ramakrishna. He could never get a disciple like him. So probably was he carried the burden with him. In our own limited way, if we strive and struggle to develop spiritually, uh, at least some solace will be there for us. Some little happiness. Okay. Okay, we'll meet next Sunday then.